Morning, everyone. It is Saturday morning, 9:30 a.m. June 20th, 2020. June 20th. Okay. At least there's no 20th month, and it'd be 2020, 2020. But anyways, I digress. So it's a pretty nice day out. It is, I don't know, 60 degrees, 70 degrees maybe? Let's see here. I don't know. I spent the morning out there hanging out, chilling with my bad self out on the patio. 66 degrees, I think. Is this going to update? 79 degrees. That's nice out. I'm wearing a hoodie now because I'm back in the basement, and the basement's cold. I really don't have a scope of work to do today. We're caught up on those. So we're going to go through. I got approached this week by a wholesaler. I've done some business with him in the past. Sometimes his prices are stupid, crazy high, and sometimes his prices are realistic, and sometimes he likes to drop some big, huge bombshell like, I want $180,000 for a property. And then I say, I'm thinking like 50. He's like, can you do 60? And so, he's a pretty good guy. I like giving him grief. He sent me, he's trying to work out a deal. He found a guy who's got 2 duplexes and then a commercial property, which is an old village pantry that's been closed for several years. So he is wanting to, at first he approached me because he wanted a hard money loan, which I do those occasionally if the deal's right. And then he is kind of basically out of his element. And so he basically kind of approached me and asked me, how do I get this deal to work? He's like, I can obviously get a better price if I buy all 3. And so I started kind of running numbers and trying to help him out. And so I think that we'll spend some time today and we will go over that. Another news, there's a Facebook forum, Indianapolis Out-of-State Investors, put on predominantly by a guy named Ernesto Hernandez. He's doing a Facebook Live today with me at noon. So might want to check that out. I'll see if I can get a link for it, and I'll put it down below here later today. So you guys can either log in and check it out or check it out later. I don't know if if you have to be a member of the group or not. Anyways, so that'll be interesting. We're going to go over durability, stuff that you can do to your houses to make them more durable. We're going to go over, I forget what all we're going over today. Excuse me. Let me pull it up. Ernesto Hernandez. We're going to go for tenant proofing. That's the durability. We're going to go for theft deterrence, how to stop, when you got a house vacant, how to help alleviate that problem. I mean, there's no solution, but there's ways that you can make your properties look less vulnerable and less of a target, to where the criminals are like, let's go do something easier. Let's go for lower hanging fruit. And then, some of the services we offer services like we have a daily deal spreadsheet where we go through the MLS every day and look for properties that might be potential deals for investors. We have a $5 CMA, where basically we give you a comparative market analysis on a subject property, active, pending, and sold over the past year, leases over the past 2 years within a quarter-mile radius of your subject property. So that's something good for you guys who are considering investing in deals, and those are $5. And then we have $50 a month. We do a video service. No, I'm sorry, not $50 a month. $100. We'll come out and do a video service. We'll video your property, kind of like with the analysis we do here. So we'll go out and videotape the property. We will give you a rough scope of work like we do on these videos, and you'll get to see if it's a good deal or not, right? Like we run the numbers, right? All right, so let's do the logo and then we'll get into this deal, all right? Okay, so I don't want to show you guys that yet. Give me a second here. Let me minimize this. All right, so he's got 2 duplexes side by side. And then let's just go through the duplexes real quick. So let me see if I can grow this. I can't grow this. I can, but it's going to mess everything up. So he's got two duplexes side by side. They basically look like this. They are 1-1s, which means they have one bedroom, one bathroom. These are not ideal in Indiana. They are extremely hard to rent. They take longer to rent. You really got to find, not to be generalizing, but you got to find a single, usually it's an older adult who wants to live by themselves. So they're really good for, retired people, and, single people and stuff like this. I mean, it's not obviously it's not going to be a family because you got one bedroom. So anyway, so they take longer to rent. And then we all know that, I like multifams if they can be bought right. And we can run the numbers here on this to see where we need to be on this property. Because typically your tenants in Indiana in these lower income areas, with this kind of a property, you're going to have a tenant who's going to stay 1 or 2 years. They're not going to stay, on single family houses, our average tenant is staying over 4 years. So you're not going to get that longevity. Turns are what kill you in the rental industry. You want a tenant who's going to move in and stay forever. You don't want someone who's going to move out every year or every 2 years. So you want to keep them happy. This is all 4 units are evidently have tenants in them, and I think they're paying like right at $500 a month. So that, to me, that sounds like these tenants they're getting water and sewer included in their bills, because typically a 1-1 you would rent for $450 a month. If you're including water and sewer, you would add an extra $50 to $60 a month for the water and sewer for that one unit. So that's one of the big problems with multifams is a lot of times they have shared utilities. And while water and sewer is quantifiable, you can say it's probably going to run me $50 to $60 a month per unit. Heat or electric is not quantifiable. I mean, I got 3 big computers running downstairs in my basement, so I know I'm using up electricity for that stuff. Plus, I got a NAS system in the closet. So, I mean, it's different people use different amount of electricity. Heating bills, you do not want to be paying for heat in Indiana because tenants will jack up the heat in the wintertime and then open a window to cool down. So you do not want to be paying for heat. So, typically on these type of rentals, we want to make sure that the tenants are paying majority, if not all, of the utilities. The only utility I'm okay and really just kind of okay. Can we get those fingers? Come on, swim back to me. Okay. Paying is water and sewer because it's quantifiable. So these are 1-1s. They rent for about $450 a month. If you're paying the water and sewer, it's about $500, $510. So that's what this is basically. These are rented. All 4 of these are rented. 3 of them are supposedly on time with their payments. And then the 4th one hasn't been made the June payment yet. So I got at least 1 eviction probably. Typically when we inherit tenants, see, some of these pictures are brand new. So sometimes what happens is a guy will buy a property, he'll fix it up, and if you got a heartbeat, he'll rent to you, because then all of a sudden he's got proof that this house is rented out at such and such amount. So, typically when we inherit a tenant, especially if they're newer, there's about a 50% chance that we're going to evict them. They're just not going to continue with their payments or whatever. It's not that I'm a bad guy. It's, we actually do everything in our power to keep them, but they just, what do I want to say? They push themselves out of the system. When we take over a property, we tell them, look, there's only 2 things that are going to change in your rental: where you send your check and who you call if you need repairs. That's it. I mean, we're not mean, we're not nasty, like, woo, get out, or whatever. It's just that, they know, they see the handwriting on the wall. They couldn't make the payments before, they bluffed their way in anyways, and or they've not been making the payments, and the previous owner's lying to us. So 50% of the time we end up evicting them. So we may lose 2 of these tenants, maybe more. So anyway, all right, so let's look at this. So this picture was dated December 30th of 2019. So this is pretty good. That's your typical white walls. He's polished the floor, painted the floor probably. It looks like it's painted floor. It's a darker color, so there was some heavy staining probably. There's no window treatments on the walls, which is pretty typical. Again, no window treatments, painted floors, it looks like, white walls. I can't tell if that's a high gloss or what that is. Again, painted floors. They don't look bad. They look pretty decent in this picture. My statement to him was, I need to go see this. I am not a big 1-1 guy. I don't like these 1-1 duplexes because they're just so hard to rent. The one thing that this has going for it is it is on 16th Street. So you got mass transit that's right along 16th Street, so it'll be easy for people to get in and get out, whatnot. So here's the kitchens. They're pretty standard. White painted kitchen cabinets. No real appliances in here. Again, it's all white. The flooring is older. We've seen this before. It's kind of on linoleum. It's pretty standard. The bathroom, so this kind of concerns me here. There's a little space heater in the bathroom. There is a floor heat here, so there's probably a basement underneath this house. The bathroom doesn't look horrible, but again, you got windows here. These are not very, these are very high maintenance, right? You got a window here. You're going to have to constantly be painting and caulking it, doing other stuff like that. Usually I want to eliminate those. The bathroom doesn't look bad. When the flooring looks decent. I think that's a linoleum. I don't think that's a true tile. That sort of stuff. Doors, again, white, basic white. I can't tell if that's been, so, it looks like there's some staining here. So what you get in a lot of these is you get a person who's a heavy smoker. And then you come through and you paint it, and then the nicotine or tartar or whatever you want to call it just bleeds through. So I think I'm seeing a lot of that on this paint, that the bleed through on this. So somebody was a heavy smoker in here before. Again, just white. Here's one of the other units. I don't have a date on this one. Do I have a date on this one? Let me look and see what we got here. Is there any internal dates on these things? Sometimes you can pull up details like when it was taken. Date taken, October 19th, 2019. So again, this is relatively new, so that kind of jibes with what I was saying earlier about these tenants don't last long. Maybe he bought it, rehabbed it, and then is renting it out now. I want to say no. I can look that up though. Let's see here. So again, kitchen cabinets that have been painted white, missing a smoke detector. The flooring is your standard linoleum. You can see a cut here, so it was pieced in. The floors are painted. The white on the walls. Again, high maintenance windows. It's a decent unit. Don't get me wrong. It's just that some of the stuff is not set up for durability. I'm not a real big fan of painted floors because they just, unless they were totally prepped right, and let's face it, nobody's prepping right. They're just coming in and they're, maybe if you're lucky, they ran a sponge across it, a mop across it, and then they painted it. And so it's going to start peeling. And so you're going to end up doing something with these floors. So again, look, see here, this one doesn't even have a true shower head. So this is hooked to the faucet itself. It's just a hand sprayer. It's got the old school, usually you would see a clawfoot tub with this. It's got the old school shower curtain here. You've got the window obviously in the unit. I don't see our typical vinyl on the walls for the shower surround. So these are maintenance issues that may not happen right now, but they're going to happen in the future. bedroom. I've noticed a lot of these lights, none of them have globes. You know, and there's the basements. Like I said, I knew that these were probably on a basement. They've been painted. They've been cleaned up. I mean, they're decent. They did a decent job on this. Now, this is probably original tile, or it might be a linoleum, but I've seen tile like this before. So that's not bad. Again, we got we got the hose here for the spray nozzle. We've got windows in the bathtubs, and you know, so on and so forth. So I mean, it's not horrible. It's just, it is what it is. So this must be the other unit. And again, this one was taken October 1st, 2019. So he's recently had turns on the tenants. Okay, so I actually need to, let me pull this up real quick. Sorry, hold on. I did an upgrade on my website, and it made a couple of my normal pages no longer work. I really wanted to get a different one of these up. Hold on a second here. I'm going to save as. It doesn't matter. We'll just put it here. All right, so let me open this up. Did it open another one? There we go. All right, so we're going to run the numbers on one duplex. This is the old spreadsheet that I used to use way back in the day before I converted it to my website. But my website went through an upgrade, and then some stuff's no longer working, so I had to hire a guy to do it. So, you know, you're looking at, so monthly rents on these properties. So we're at $500 a month, right? Per side. So, I want to say it was like 510. So let's say it's 510. So we're at 1,020 per side, right? I did not pull up. Let me pull up the taxes real quick. Sorry, kids. So typically, so it's 1,020 a month. We've got vacancy rates are higher, so about 12%, because it doesn't take 2 to 4 weeks. It takes 4 to 8 weeks to find a tenant for these typically. And it might even be longer because these are 1-1s. So should we punch them up to 16%? So like 2 months out of that commission? I think we'll leave it at the 12. Average maintenance repair costs. Whenever I'm buying a new property, I'm always going to factor this at 10% of gross rents going to repairs, because I don't know what the previous owner did. He may have put Band-Aids on pigs or whatever, lipsticks on pigs to get this thing going, and then make it look presentable so he could sell it. So I'm going to put 10% down, and really that's not a lot of money. That is $1,200 for the year. So I'm going to put in 2% for accounting. I'm not going to put anything in for advertising. Property management, 10%. Now, I manage my own property, so I don't pay management. But when I'm running numbers on houses for future investments, I always figure in 10% property management, because when I go to sell it, chances are the guy who's going to buy it is going to have property management. So he's going to run the numbers like he's going to have to pay for property management. So we're going to leave that at 10%. So about 34% of our operating cost goes towards 34% of our gross rents goes towards operating costs. So that's a decent chunk of money, right? All right, so our taxes on this property, I'm trying to pull it up. Give me a second here. Thought I had pulled it up while I was talking. Yep, this is our property. Property taxes on this bad boy, they're not bad. $549 a year, so that's pretty decent. $549 a year. Now, so we're going to pay for water and sewer. This is the problem with this old sheet. So we're going to pay water and sewer. So it's about 120 bucks a month is what I'm going to budget. Property insurance on this bad boy should be about $550. Now, here's where things get a little ornery. Because you're probably going to have a turn once a year or every 2 years, our average turn, good turn, is $1,000 to $2,000. So if a person moves into this property, they're going to pay about 550 bucks or $500 in security deposit. So if we've got I'm going to say it's probably $1,500 to $2,000. So we probably have about let's say $1,500. It's usually $1,000 to $2,000 on a good turn. So let's just say it's like $1,500. So if we take that $1,500 average between $1,000 and $2,000, and then we subtract the $500 from the security deposit, it's going to cost the owner about $1,000, and I'm going to say a year to do a turn per unit. So now we're at about $2,000 a year that we've got in turn fees. Now this, I say annual permits, but it's not turn costs, right? So about $2,000 a year. Now maybe we'll get lucky and we don't have a turn in that, at the end of the year. But a lot of times we do. So I want to factor that in. So so about $2,000 there, because that's a duplex. So not 1 unit, 2 units. So about $2,000 there. Okay. Now that means that we make about $300 a month cash flow. So cash flow wise is not bad. Now let's say you're in the 25% tax bracket, you're going to save an extra, what the heck am I looking at? Oh, I've got numbers written in for this stuff. Sorry guys, I'm trying to get caught back up. So I've got in here a loan, and I don't really want a loan right now. So we're at $295 after taxes. Would probably be about $350, $348 a month in $348 a month in cash flow. That's after taxes, or we get our depreciation after depreciation. All right, so $348. So so at what price point do you want to buy this property? If you wanted to make a 12% cap rate on this property, you really need to have all in. You need to be at $29,000 on this duplex. Now, let that sink in for a second. A lot of you guys are paying $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 for these properties here in Indy. And you're getting about a 4% return. Is that worth your time and effort and your savings for a property? And that's a good turn, $1,000 or $2,000 a month, a year. If you have a bad turn, like I know I'm going to have to evict at least one person. Let's say I got to evict 2. And let's say they trash the house out, right? My average turn on a eviction is $5,000 to $7,000. So at that point, you're upside down pretty heavily. So anyway, if I wanted to make a 10% return on this property, I need to be all in for $35,000, right? So, and that's all in. I bought it, I rehabbed it, and I put a renter in. That's $35,000 is what I need to be at. So I think yesterday they had talked the seller into $65,000. The wholesaler had talked him down to like $65,000 for these units. So where is that at? $65,000? $65,000. It's $500. So it's, it's what I want to say. I don't know. The assessed value is off, but that's fine. 30 years. Let's do 30 years at 4.5. Oh, I didn't even put a loan in. You're at a 5.4%. Without even a loan, you're at 5.4% cap rate if you paid $65 for this property. And that's not including if things go to hell in a handbasket. If you have an eviction and a foreclosure, or not a foreclosure, but if you have an eviction and you have a bad tenant. So you're at 5.4% cap rate if you bought it for 65. So that's just crazy money. I mean, that's just dumb. So, I mean, that's the duplexes. So really, I want to be all into these for 35,000. And so yesterday, the wholesaler hit me up and he said, because originally my numbers would have been I needed to be all in for 40,000, but that's usually a 2-bedroom, duplex, 2 bedrooms per side. This is a 1-1. So now that I've seen this, I mean, I don't want to even do it for 10% return. So it's not worth it to me. So, I mean, I even told him yesterday I'm not interested in the 1-1s because they're just too hard to rent. But, if we run the numbers on it, if you're okay with it, then that's where you need to be. You need to be in there for whatever, 30 to 35,000. I mean, ideally, I'd like to be at 15% cap rate on it because there's so much work. So that means I need to get it all in for $23,000 to make a 15% return. In this market, that's not going to happen. Somebody from the left coast or whatnot, some moron somewhere, and I'm not bagging on all left coasters, but there's a lot of guys who are not making smart decisions right now. So 24,000 is never going to hang. I don't even think 24,000 will hang if I tried to offer it to him now. I mean, you know what I mean? Anybody who's got any duplex in Indy that's a 1-1, they're not going to want me to buy it for, be all in for $23,000. So, I mean, that's why 1-1s are, they're not worth the time and the effort. All right, so that's the numbers on these duplexes, right? So really, you need to be, let's say that this is 30,000. So what is that? 11%. Yeah, I mean, if you wanted a 10% return, 10% is not horrible, but I would want more on a 1-1. They're just a pain. $35,000 on that one. So we need to get each duplex all in for 35,000. So there's 70,000 to buy 2 duplexes. I don't think it's going to happen, but that's where we need to be on those. Okay. All right. So I've got that done. All right. So let's look at the commercial property. This is the interesting one. Let me see here. I thought I had the other sheet up. I guess I don't. Give me a second here. Downloads. Nope, not downloads. Documents. All right. So this is the one that's interesting to me. So this is an old Village pantry. It's right on 16th Street. This is only a 1-pager. So this is what it looks like right now, right? And it's about, let me pull it up. I think it was right at 2,000 square feet. It's like 1,900 square feet. Let me pull it up real quick on the Realist. It is 19. Come on, pull it up. There is the lot size is 1,400 square feet, and then the property itself is looking here. Oh no, I'm looking at the wrong one. Sorry. I was like, what? Okay, here we go. So it is, I don't have the zoning here, but I've been told it's C5. It is square footage wise. The lot itself is, hold on, I gotta get this stuff. Sorry, guys. The building was built in 72. The finished building square foot is 1,950 square feet according to the assessor. Other documents I show 1,925 for square foot. the lot square footage is 12,000 square feet of lot, so it's about a little over a quarter of an acre lot. They got about 4,000 square feet. That doesn't make sense. I was gonna say they got 4,000 square feet for paved surface. Okay, so this is our building here. So the proposed idea is to turn it into a restaurant, right? So a little eat-in kitchen, a little eat-in restaurant. It's got some outdoor seating, it's got some indoor seating, right? You got the lot, you got 11 parking spots, right? Here's, I think our duplex is over here. So, you got a little bit of parking out back for people and stuff like this. So how much is it going to cost us to do this? Yeah, I know it's sideways, guys. You're going to have to bear with me. So this was the artist or the architect's concept for the idea. It's in Little Flower. So their concept was to do, the little eat-in restaurant or whatever, which I kind of like that idea. I think that's doable, okay? So I started running numbers on this. Let me put this away. So I ran a bunch of comps. Let me pull up the comps. And what I did was, give me a second here. I pulled up comps of all of Indianapolis, and of course nope, here we go, good. So I pulled up comps of all of Indianapolis. Oops, let me get this to come down. So I pulled up comps of all of Indianapolis, and this is commercial properties. Let's look at our criteria. Commercial properties, active, pending, and sold within the last year, leases over the past 2 years for commercial properties. And I did building size between 1,500 and 2,500 square feet because we're right there. We're 1925, 1950, 2,000 square foot right there. So I did 1,500 to 2,500 square foot. So that's what I did, all of Indianapolis, right? So if we go to the map, you're going to see some stuff all over the country, right? Here's Indianapolis in the middle, and you got stuff going all the way down to, here, right? But we could still narrow it down even further if we need to. But what I did was I run by price, sorted by price. And then I just kind of looked through here and saw what I wanted to see, right? So this building here, I don't know if you can see it. That one went for $500 a month. And that's when it was listed for $525. That's a building. So here's something kind of similar to ours. The square footage is 1,763. It's commercial. It's got a bay, so it's not really a restaurant, but although it could be, it's 1,700 plus square foot of office storage or office. If you wanted to, you could convert this, right? We're already at the point where we're going to convert no matter what. So, so this one is $1,000 a month. It's actively listed for $1,000 a month, right? And that's Newcastle, Indiana. So that's a little ways away from us. And this one is Indianapolis. This is Lexington Avenue. This one rented. This is $1,000 a month, right? So this is kind of similar to ours. It was probably a convenience store. It's 2,440 square foot. It's one-story retail, office, warehouse, or industrial space, wide open area, rented as is. So it's kind of similar to ours, and they rented it for $1,000 a month. Okay, so and they got some pictures of it. Let's see what we got here. Got a gravel lot out back. So we've got a decent lot. So this is just wide open inside. You could do whatever you wanted to it. You could turn it into a restaurant, or you could leave it as an office space or a fix-it shop or something like that. So this is Crawfordsville. This was what was it? A restaurant? Diner. It was a diner. So decent shape, right? Got some of the equipment there, and they rented it for $1,200 a month. And again, this is Crawfordsville. It's not Indy, so that's decent. Here's another one, Crawfordsville. Is that the same one? It is the same one. Again, they leased it out for $1,200, so somebody didn't stick around very long. This is Indy. This is $1,250. Again, another restaurant, pizzeria. Only 2 pictures. Thanks for the, helping us out there, brother. 1,500 square foot. So that one got $1,250, at least out for $1,250. Old Long John Silver's in Brazil, Indiana. We're not going to look at that. Here's something in Plainfield, Indiana. We're not going to look at that. That's not the way we want to look at. Here's one in Greencastle. They rented that one for $1,500 a month. That's an old Long John Silver's again. Here's some stuff for $1,700 a month. So you can kind of see what you're dealing with. Old restaurants, whatever, old fast food places. Now this one was a little interesting to me. It's 901 Pennsylvania. It's in a restaurant. It's kind of a hip area. $1,800 a month. And a lot of these are triple net leases. Bye. That's right, Frank, baby. I'm glad to see you're on. Anyway, so this is a commercial space that was a restaurant converted in. And triple net leases are where the tenant pays taxes, the property taxes. They pay the insurance, property insurance, and they pay the rent, obviously. So that's a triple net lease for the owner. So I'm thinking I'm going to try and do, if I did this deal, which I'm not sure I would do this deal or not. If I did this deal, I think I would do a triple net lease on it. I'm glad you showed up, Frank. You might have some insights on this stuff. And so anyway, this one kind of interests me. That one went for $1,800, but like I say, that's kind of a pretty good area. So that one kind of interested me. So, I'm back to our subject property. Let me see if I can pull up my PDF again. If we convert this over to a restaurant, the Little Flower Cafe here, if I went in, typically on restaurants, I was hitting up a buddy of mine yesterday he's got a restaurant, a real popular restaurant downtown Indy. And, I was asking him, do I need to provide appliances inside the kitchen, stoves and all that sort of stuff, or do I just need to plumb it out? I'm not a big commercial guy, so I'm just kind of dabbling in it now. I bought the bank and now I'm messing with this stuff. But anyway, so let's say I bought this property, right? And I converted it over, right? And I put in plumbing hookups for the kitchen and I ran electrical, right? And then I put in, I kind of finished out the walls, the interior walls and stuff like that, and I put in some flooring and stuff like that, made it look decent, right? Because even that, this property here, I mean, it's okay, but I mean, really, you could finish it out a lot better, right? I mean, it needs some paint for the walls and stuff like that, but the flooring only goes over to here, and then, I don't know. So I'm just thinking, if we made it decent, then what could we do with this property? So so anyway, so I kind of started running some numbers on it. Let me see here. So if I rented it out at $1,000 a month, which I think I could get $1,200, so let's run it at $1,200. If I went in and I did the drywall, I marked off the kitchen, I put the plumbing in correctly, if I made it look decent initially, right? Did the flooring, did the walls, stuff like that. Made it look decent, initially. Put in HVAC, and this place needs plumbing, HVAC. It needs a new roof. There's some other stuff that it needs. If I did all that, I don't know. Frank, do you configure, if you ran numbers on a commercial property, would you figure in a vacancy loss? Obviously not in New York City like you, Brooklyn. I guess I was just wondering, do I figure in that in? I guess I would, but I wouldn't figure I'm going to have a swap out a tenant every year. Do you put it at like 4%, a half a month? Do you put it at 2%? I don't know. You're not going to have, on a triple net, the tenants are responsible for maintenance and repairs typically. Accounting and legal, I'm not going to have. I guess I'd have some of that. Property management, I'm not going to really. I guess I would probably have that. Tenants are paying the taxes. They're paying the insurance. it's so $1,200 a month. What could I get away paying for this property all in, right? If I had these little expenses, we'd be talking NOI of 12,000, right? So that's a 15% return. That's if I bought it for 80, or it was all in for 80. Now, if I want to make a 12% return, I need to be all in for 105,000. So I think yesterday I sent the guy a message, and I think I told him I wanted to be all in for 70,000 on that thing. So I think I was figuring $1,000 a month, which would still be like a 13% return. That means that my is 87.5. Let me look and see what I told him yesterday when I talked to him. I told him yesterday, we got into a long discussion because all of a sudden it swapped from me doing a hard money loan on this 3-package deal to me buying this 3-package deal, and I just was not interested. So I think I figured if you were all into it for about $100,000, and I think I figured about $30,000 in repairs. So, I figure it's going to need a roof. Let's see, what did I put in here? And I may be wrong on some of this stuff. I have not seen this property. So I think I figured $10K on a roof. I figured HVAC is probably going to run me $5K. I think that might be light. I figure I'm going to have probably a couple grand in plumbing, and probably some electrical, so another probably $3K. So then flooring is probably about $6,000. I probably would put in my LVP. I may have to put in a nicer product, so it might be more expensive than that, because you're going to get a lot more wear and tear because you're going to have restaurant people coming in and out of it. So what do we have? 10, 5, that's 15. We got another 5, that's 20. 6K. So, there's probably $35,000, $40,000 worth of work here to get it decent. Now again, I'm kind of dabbling in stuff I don't know a lot about. I'm using a lot of knowledge from my from my residential stuff. So, if I could buy it, if I bought it for $60,000, right, and I put, let's say I put $40,000 into rehab on it, right? I'm into it for $100,000, whatever, $500. Let me pull the loan out of it real quick. So my cash flow is $880 a month. So it's still about a 10% return. So, that's not too bad. Let me go back and see if... Frank, you're being quiet. You're supposed to be piping in and helping me out here, brother. But like I say, I think I could get $1,200 a month. If I got $1,200 a month, then we'd be at about a 12.6% cap rate, which is pretty decent. I think that would be pretty good. And it is an area of Little Flower, which is kind of, up and coming. You've got parking, you've got, this and that. So I think, it would be definitely doable. It is COVID times, though, so it might take longer to rent it out. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you know what I mean? I'm not interested in the duplexes. I may be interested in this one. One thing I did look up yesterday was that this guy bought it in 2014, and he paid $27,000 for it. So he clearly hasn't done anything in the past whatever, 6 years with this property. So, he's just held it. So I don't know. If I could get it for, I guess I would be better if I got it for 50,000, right? We'd all be better if we could get it for cheaper, but then at least it'd be a 14% return if I got $1,200 a month. So I don't know. If I'm figuring wrong, if I'm running numbers wrong, again, I'm kind of a babe in the woods on commercial properties. Then let me know what you guys are thinking. I haven't even seen this property. I'm just running numbers based off of information that I've gotten from talking to people. If I did it though, it'd be $1,000 a month in cash flow, $1,100 after tax considerations. I just don't know. Frank's still being quiet. So anyways, I think we're going to end early today. Only been 45 minutes, but I think we've got some good information here. You guys need to click the like, click the subscribe, click the bell icon if you want to see me when I come on regularly. Should be here every Saturday at 9:30 a.m. And then again, I'll try and post later. If I can get a link to the noon call, I will post that in the down below, so you guys can jump into that if you want to. Anyways, all right. If you got any questions, comments, put them below, man. I'm always eager and excited to answer questions that may show up. So I appreciate you guys' time. Thanks for nothing, Frank.